Hello everybody and welcome on this here Tuesday evening to some EU MDL. We're going to be getting into the action pretty quickly. The ninth round of our first game, Demise, up against Avangar, just finishing. I am of course Skriv. Joining me on this endeavor is going to be Darth Mike, and I'm pretty excited for this evening. We've got some pretty good games coming up. I know we've got that new Vertigo to finish off. You're looking forward to that.
Oh yes.
But to start, we've got Avangar on Inferno, which is always exciting.
Very much so. I'm very excited to get a chance to cast Avangar. I've never had a chance to be in the server with them, or Demise, really. So I'm excited to see where Demise is at. Obviously, these two teams kind of have mirror experiences in the Mountain Dew League so far this season. Avangar sitting at 5-1, very strong. Demise, other foot, 1-5, feeling a little bit lost this season. So this could be a bit of a quick one.
Yeah, perhaps. There's kind of a lot of history within that Turkish scene. I believe there's a French player. I want to say Beyaz is French. But for the most part, we've come to know kind of this Turkish scene back in the day, a couple of years ago, maybe even going a little bit further behind until the fall of Space Soldiers. They had so much firepower available, right? And now some of those names that we've kind of come to know have moved on into European mixes. We were talking about Major a little bit and whatnot. So we'll see. It kind of depends. Inferno is a difficult map, however, to get that, just raw fragging individual talent going. And Avangar are a difficult team to get past, also using that style. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, hopes are not high for sure.
I seem to remember, just clinging in my mind is that Engine is kind of a type of player who can have these games where he absolutely goes off, and I suspect they're going to need that kind of firepower, as you were saying, to really get through this. It's going to be a play on towards A. It looks like they want to move towards Arch immediately, and they will deal with the first presence. Jane out. There's a lot of pressure here from the CCs. They're ready for this. So Sanji falling means that now the crunch on towards B is absolutely an option. They'll lose Boiler. That may be all they lose for the moment. Engine is eventually going to be able to convert his blindside shots. It's going to lead to a Dread. The veteran player has to hold on here. He's got players beating down his door. Found one. That's going to be all she wrote. That's going to leave Kickert in the clutch. No armor, no kit, USP in his hands. This is kind of a hopeless situation.
A little bit. Smoke going to go in to just kind of keep him back from Banana as well. And unfortunately, the guess as to where he's coming from would be completely correct. And yeah, this is a tough one, right? He's got to land like at least 2 snappy headshots, because he can just get spammed down by all these pistols with no Kevlar quite easily. No real time to speak of. Just looking to go for some exits, earn some money. Not going to happen. And Demise will take the pistol, and it's fairly good. There's a little bit in there, kind of madness to that play. I think it's something that we can probably get used to and relate to, in a sense. Like, I don't know about you. I suppose you play on your little kind of MDL. Well, no, your open team. Sorry, your Esea open team.
We're a dead team now. We missed too many games in a row, and we're playing dead.
Okay,
it's very
fair
hard
enough.
to get people available to schedule matches.
Yeah, I can imagine. But sort of the point I'm trying to get is when you watch like this high level, or even obviously these teams play at this high level. Sometimes when you go back to it, or when you play against a team that you're in the form of Avangar, you're at that higher end, and then you've got Demise, who are still sort of kind of breaking through and coming up from the bottom end. They play a little bit different, right? People tend to play more selfishly, maybe not relying on the utility so much, and you get caught off guard by, why is there a guy lurking in apps and also a guy lurking second mid? Like, what is the logic? It only works because I've run around the corner and not checked it, and whatnot. So I think there's maybe a little bit of a random element coming into that pistol is what I'm talking about. But we'll see. Demise, they've got an opportunity. Could get rolling on the T side if they can keep that CT economy crushed for this half. You never know. Might be able to pull something out of the bag.
I like the decision from Avangar not to be tempted into any sort of real purchase up. Jane's going to pick up 50. That's all they're going to go for. I mean, the pistol rounds, even in the best of circumstances, are usually about a point flip. Sometimes more of a 60-40 if you've got incredibly skilled pistol players. But once you get to a certain level of skill, it's just sort of a bit chaotic. I mean, that last round they ran into the stack, right? And it worked. it worked quite well. Now you've got a full stack from Avangar, just going to go for the full gamble on towards A, and Demise is going to slowly pepper various spots with utility. And frankly, for Avangar, even if they go B, as long as Demise has dumped all of their utility in the process of securing that B-bomb site, I think they count it as a win.
Yeah, I think so.
I guess they're going to go for the stack again. This is interesting. They've seen absolutely nothing at B. Absolutely nothing. But they've got a player top mid now. Demise is starting to push through that Molotov. Will force Sanji out of position, and that's the pepper. So confirmation that there's a player there at the very least. He's probably going to get wrapped by his Mac 10. You just don't fancy Sanji's chances in this position. He will slowly be pushed back. A falling game here, not a bad idea. So they are going to move on to the site itself. Again, no information towards B, but it's going to work out. They will dismantle the stack, no problem there. Only one casualty lost, with a single Mac 10 that'll wind up being lost in the round. Demise just demolish the Bear Pistols.
You know, from a team maybe looking at it at first glance, you know, you'd think maybe there's slightly less structure to this Demise squad. That's a really well-played anti-eco, right? Considering they're going into the stack, they are so very slow and patient with the utility, getting the brackets control, right? Smoke to the left-hand side. Molly goes into cubby. Smokes at Arch and Library. You play it really slowly, giving so much respect to Avangar, and it all pays off, right? They lose one player in total, and they make a lot of money on those SMGs. So feeling quite comfortable coming into this first rifle round. There is an AWP in the hands of James. Lack of utility here, though, for Avangar to pull these rifles out. That's kind of why... And Buster has no armor, so I guess did he drop the AWP across and kind of mistakenly... That's a bit awkward. But yeah, you see a lot of teams, especially on a map like Inferno, will actually force that second round if they lose the pistol on the CT side. Bit of a mouthful, but, you know, they kind of feel, sure, we'll let it go 3-0, possibly. Okay, that's slightly awkward, but we'll let it go 3-0 possibly because the utility, as you can see, right, is just not ideal here. Definitely workable, and the rifles in the hands of these players against the caliber of player that they're playing against, it could work, but it's risky for sure.
This is kind of interesting to me that Kicker is the one peeking with just the MP9 from Cross. Is a little bit tricky. He's not going to work his way into sight. A little bit more. There's mollies all over the place. They're anticipating a flash that allows him to at least convert one kill early on. Bottled up a little bit on the other side of the smoke, and now so aggressive is James. It's not James time at all. He's going straight into it, and he'll die as a result, trying to get back through on the site. Sanji's left sort of on an island. He's doing some damage still, but it'll eventually be dug out. And a Dread and Buster with Buster first. And his two opponents are low, admittedly, but he just can't take any kind of spray fight without the benefit of the Kevlar. Has the bomb ticking away just on the other side of this coffin, but if he makes a misstep here, he's going to wind up being in the coffin instead of on the other side of it. Yes, his elbow's sticking out. They've seen each other. Oh no, the response there. Just one timid shot from Beaz. Not sure what was going on there, but without a kit, Buster is going to have to get out of there. He will save the M4 at the very least and limited the T economy, but it's not going to be a round win by any measure. He was staring at his elbow.
Molotov, eh? Yeah, I don't know as well. There's loads of moments in that round, to be honest. Like, it's just so weird. You know, and that's another thing, right? Avangar going to be a bit thrown off. I think that situation at the end definitely is more of an individual kind of mistake, but the whole choice to run through Molly, run through smokes and whatnot, they don't really care that they're on low HP. They're just after the headshots at the end of the day, and it works out because it's one of those things. You put the Molly down, and then, you know, a wide swing comes in from Kicker on the MP9, but I think James not really ready for them to come through. Had a flash in hand, I want to say. It kind of came over the top a little bit late, and then he tried to get aggressive, and, you know, it just... Messy. Okay. Buster, hoping to catch someone off guard in second mid. Not going to happen. Immor on this AWP. Interesting to see it come out on the T side so early, but, you know, each to their own once again. If he's able to land the frags, there's no real issue with it. It's just expensive to keep it going and can be somewhat limiting I think especially, you know, in a round like this, they'll learn, okay,
move up, find a little something to mess with here, a little bit of space, and they're backed up into the site. So provided he makes no audio cues, he's actually going to be able to get so far forward. He spotted one. Now they just know they have to not peek. If they just sit stock still, eventually he's going to swing them. And there we go. The round is escorted through. But again, even these rounds that they're winning, they get pretty expensive. I mean, these are very much coming down to 1 or 2 players alive, even when Avangar really doesn't have much to compete with, and now they've got the AWP out. Now they've got the rifles. Buster is presumably going to buy armor this time around. There we go. But this is going to be their best buy yet.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point you raised there. That's the risk of going for this fast, aggressive kind of, you know, foot on the gas kind of style. James playing into it in this round, finds a quick one there at second mid. But to kind of continue the point, yeah, it's like, you know, live by the sword, die by the sword kind of thing. You play a bit too aggressive in a round like that, you're actually losing a lot of money. Might not have enough to buy up there, depends on bomb plants and whatnot, and that's another thing. James got this up in hand, he's feeling confident, he's on the other side of the map now. Flash goes forwards, and this time the kill comes in. No weird elbow spotting or whatever. They seem to have learned from their mistakes, and this is where Demise fall down, right? I think the way that they play, it's great fundamentals, you know, a lot of trust in their teammates. I'll hold the point in a second because it looks like we're going to finish. Okay, yeah, kicker, I'll find that spray down. But they have a lot of trust in their teammates in terms of finding the trades, rushing into a bomb site, and let's just overwhelm them with numbers. And then also very pick-based Counter-Strike. And the first, you know, couple of rifle rounds, or near enough rifle rounds, they have found those opening frags onto someone getting a bit aggressive and not quite giving the respect on that CT side. But in that round, a lot more letting them come to us and then just playing off of James, particularly on this AWP, who goes for another early peek. He's flashed off this time, but all the same, if James feeling it, then it's very worrisome. Doesn't matter what team you are, it's very worrisome indeed.
Absolutely. They've got to make him a little bit more uncomfortable using utility or something just to keep the pressure on, so that ops starts to have to be a little hesitant about going for these aggressive plays. And the best thing for the CTs right now is they've had 3 creeks. They have salvaged many of the scope rifles, so they are sitting pretty moving forward. This one, I've already seen most of the T utility get expended. Don't have much to work with here. Oh, the first body somehow not dropping. They have survived, but damage has been done in a big way. That nade, this little follow-up, might push them back out of mid. No, they're sticking around, which is interesting. They felt a lot of presence here towards A. They've been knocked back at every turn, and they're still inching forward. So this setup is very good for Avangar. Provided Sanji can catch at least 1 kill and get the information as they cross in front of Arch, this is going to be very tough. Split B, but they're just not going to get a chance.
Nice early flash as well to kind of, you know, and the way that Sanji is holding, does only get 1, but it's passive enough that he gets a free 1 before he gets traded. I think there it looks a little, you know, still kind of uncomfortable. That Krieg spray down, particularly when you're unscoped, can be a little awkward. I mean, it's been a while, but, you know, benefit of the doubt on that one. We'll see what the rest of Demise are going to get done here. 2-man setup at short, not getting past it. A Krieg in pit, not getting past it. Mini 2K is going to try his damnedest here. He finds one, but he's only got 10 seconds. Doesn't fancy his chances. Going to look to try and save, just about edges into second middle, and I think should be okay. As long as he doesn't, you know, get aggressive on his save and go for exits instead, he should be okay. I don't know, though. I think it's going to be difficult to buy up. It's not like it makes too much of a difference. He only had chest armor as well already, so I'm not really sure what the case is there. So Avangar, they've got a second round on the board, 2 in a row, breaking the economy very early on this T side. and quite probably, you know, going to even up the scoreline sooner rather than later.
Now, this is always interesting to me when someone saves on the T side. When it's a double eco situation, I think it makes sense because you're going to wind up with at least a rifle in that first round of fortifying. But here, everybody else is saving. They're right in a situation where if they don't somehow miraculously convert this round, everybody else is going to be in a position to buy, and Mini 2K is going to be sitting there, you know, twiddling his thumbs, waiting to see what he can find, a little deagle or something. So it's kind of an odd situation. We'll see, though, if the AK can justify the save, because it is, of course, all is forgiven. There's the first kill. I'd say maybe one more and it's justified. Not gonna happen. Gets mowed down. So that will probably be the only kill they rot in this round. Paz Glock is gonna connect, but it's a Glock, so not gonna connect terribly effectively. So we wind up in a situation where Mini 2K has 3K and everybody else is ready to buy, and he's gonna be on an SMG presumably.
Yeah, I would have thought so. They don't really care, of course. They're gonna buy up anyway. So, you know, it'll be on that Mac 10, and it's sort of a blessing in disguise in the sense that he's actually the only one with a Molotov here. So could have an effect, particularly if they move towards that B bomb site, which is looking likely, at least in the early stages of the round. However, the Avangar boys, they've got their utility. Smoke over the top, Molly goes in, nade to follow up. Look at that, absolutely beautiful stuff. Emor definitely walked straight into the trap because a bit more damage from Kicker allowed that frag to come in, and they will respond in kind. The grind, spray down from Beaz, not going to connect, unfortunately, and it looks like another kill off the back of the nade. This is just sad to watch. James, easy on the AWP. I mean, they're not even really peeking one by one. It's such a tough situation when you're, you know, taking so much damage, losing so many players to unseen opponents. And the thing is, you only see James for just a second. He's a phantom. He'll snap your head clean off as soon as you peek around that corner, and that is a flawless round from Avangar.
And this is where you start to see Demise just getting... they're playing to the beat of Avangar's drum, right? That whole round was like Avangar was a conductor. James was the conductor over on B, and he just hit every beat. Nade kill, op kill, player peeking through. They retake top, banana control off the back of a flashbang into sandbags. It was really flawless. It just in terms of keeping everybody alive, but in terms of, as you said, they barely saw anybody from Avangar before they were dead. It's so difficult to work with if you're Demise. So you've got to find some way to change the tempo, because Avangar clearly are so comfortable at this point, and they're using their utility to just bully you and prevent you from really being able to get much of anything going in the round. So Demise going to get back into this with very little to work with, no utility whatsoever. 3 deagles, a CZ. Aimor just going to save, presumably, for the AWP. So they're going to go for a burst play into apartments, I believe. I've got a lot of players moving up alt mid right now, trying to make a little bit of noise towards A. You can see the response here. Buster's already dropped a ton of utility into his banana. He's thinking about taking aggressive control there. They're going to have no options. Dren's found the first pick. Goes in towards the apartments, and now they can just fade back and have this brilliant setup the whole day. And it's just going to be so very difficult for Demise to get much of anything going here. Missed shot, though, for Jay. Might allow them forward. He's got to be careful. He's in towards the corner. Hector has come in to support.
Oh, God.
Almost killed his teammate there, but hey, it works out.
Is that a knife attempt as well, I think, from, like, so. Paz or someone? Interesting.
Gotta go for style points.
I mean, when the opportunity's there, right? It was pretty damn close. And at the very least, he almost facilitated a team kill.
Yeah, you know, sometimes sacrifice. Well, here's the thing. Honestly, at this point, when your economy is so healthy, I think you would rather kill your teammate than let your teammate get knifed.
It's almost like, to be fair,
like in a war movie when the guy's like broken leg, he's like, I can't go on, but don't let me be captured. Yeah. The hard decision there. Well, that's sort of what was happening. Didn't have to happen. He saved his life, but I guarantee there was the thought in his brain.
Indeed. Either way, while we've been talking, there's been a quick early frag from Immor, you know, from taking down a Dren. They are getting a little ahead of themselves in places, but James, of course, on the AWP. You show a bit too much like them in E2K, and he will take you out easily. 4v4 coming in. Kicker's got an aggressive down banana now. He's only on 34 HP. This could be somewhat problematic, but it all depends on the timing. He turns away. Oh, gets that kill onto Engine somehow. Paz is not quite fast enough. To the very least, it's kept even. Jane gets the tag, but not quite the frag. Still playing aggressive on that corner, on that angle. They're coming towards him. He's got to be careful, but if he drops back, a flash comes in. A very well-timed flash as well. Might just to save Paz at least for now. Quick return from Bayat. So it's actually being kept even here, which, despite the fact that Demise found the opening frag, is pretty damn good from Avangar. However, this retake is going to be difficult.
They've still got a bunch of utility as well. One of those mollies has been spent, but they've still got a Molotov and a smoke. That's an unfortunate dashing of most of their hopes. Now they know exactly where Namor is playing from as well. And that smoke is completely flubbed. There is such a big gap in it. It might as well have just been a big wide open window. Plus just going to get a kill as a result. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but I'm more trusted to smoke when he really should not have.
Yeah, that sums it up pretty well, to be honest. Kind of a tough scenario for him. I would argue the AWP on that corner, especially for the AWPer, he probably should have just stuck with it and, you know, waited for them to get on the bomb, hope he could get a quick one around the corner and then back off, do the same thing again. But it's hard, isn't it, right? The 1v2 situations, they're not meant to be easy. Panics a bit, and unfortunately his panic is his downfall. Adren, I'm not sure whether he's been spotted there in the apartments. They're getting aggressive at middle, though. James, again, lucky as you like, able to survive, gets a molly down that buys him some time to rotate in. The rotations from B are so very fast. They'd started off with 3B. This round is crazy. It's all over the place. Sanji is up close with the Krieg, however, going to peek around this corner. No flash, goes down, almost taking out the player up close. Beautiful stuff from Imor to take out Kicker. 4v3. There's a flank coming in from Buster. Are they expecting this? Paz does at the very last second, but he ends up falling. What is going on? This round is just absolutely all over the place. Smoke in there at Library and a long bit more damage done. However, it is the Madman Adren in the apartments. It's a smoke, not a brick wall. Imor gets taken down from behind. 3v2. And now an advantage for Avangar going into the post plan.
Oh, the flashbang was perfectly timed there. Beaz actually was dead to rights, and the flash blooms to save his life, and he winds up getting the kill as a result. So this is still doable for the CT side, especially since both of the Ts are bundled up in towards the site itself. There's no presence in pit. There's nothing to really operate off of there. And the spam, the wall spam, almost checking out. Buster doesn't know, of course, but that gets so close. The nade will finish him. No, he survives somehow, dancing in and out of danger. The USP will be what it takes to finish him off. And I believe... No, there's not enough time. Not at all. He's going to go ahead and lose his life. Demise. They don't keep the player alive, but they will get the round, and that's a round they desperately needed. Now, what's interesting to me here is, based on the way that round went in the last couple of rounds, it feels like Demise doesn't necessarily have a long plan into each round. It's more that wherever they hit, wherever they get that pick, it's like blood in the water. They swarm it like sharks. And that round it works out. But you could have definitely seen various points where that could have gotten away from them. And it just didn't come down to the timing. That would have been brutal. Demise, it's a round win, but I don't think the way they won that was sustainable in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's a difficult kind of play style to replicate, right? Because there's a couple things there. It's like Kicker, if he'd have just waited for a flash, probably could have peeked around and gotten another kill before going down. That makes the difference, you know. If Adren had gotten a bit more aggressive, you know, maybe arguably playing a bit passive, I thought he was going to be the difference maker, but such a crazy round, you don't really know where people are at. Is there a guy in pit who's made his way up short or something? Like, what's going on? We don't really know. It's like a sensory overload from Demise, right? There's guns, there's utility, there's footsteps, there's, you know, bodies. There's so much going on, so much to see and hear and, you know, touch in a sense from Avangar. They don't really know how to respond. And it's one of those kind of rounds where, again, you fight fire with fire, right? You just respond the way that your opponents are. You get caught up in the play style. And Demise definitely more used to that chaotic, speedy way of doing things. Bit of a pause as we do have a player drop out on the Avangar side, but we're very quickly back into the action. Quackly back into the action, apparently, but yeah, whatever.
Ducks.
Yeah, something like that. I've been playing too much Untitled Goose Game, you know.
Have you played it yet? I really want to give it a try.
I've played a little bit. It's kind of fun, to be fair. It is the most random video game, but sometimes those kind of games are a lot of fun.
It looked delightful from what I've seen. I'm gonna give it a try at some point, give it a little spin, but for now, They might need an untitled goose to get this done, because a mischievous, sneaky goose would be exactly what Demise needs to get this game on track. There's a little bit of presence coming towards Banana, and admittedly, Avangar has really been leaving the B site quite open. With the fast playstyle that Demise has been going for, I'm surprised to catch somebody off, but this will be the round. Now, Mini 2K already in. He's on the angle, and there's no smoke to cover this off, so he's going to be able to do some extra damage, at least bring it back to an even number situation. The longer they hesitate here, the riskier this gets. Crossbow fades, the kill comes in again from the Coffins. Kicker playing this very well, and now they can get the whole squad through. He's trying to go with the Bogdan's Law op there. He wants it. Now he's going to hold cross while they start to move in for the retake. One more player lost, and this gets very awkward for Demise. Avangar letting the clock run down, and that's very dangerous for them. It was rough last time. Engine, look at this bold play through smoke. He sits in it, gets one. Not the second, though. It's all going to be left to Bayaz. His position's known, who's naded out, and who's going to be sent skyward. So the defuse will come through with enough time this time. Avangar will claim the 7th round, and the economy. Pretty rough for Demise. They do get the bomb plant, though. Papers over the deficiencies. They've just got nothing in reserve. They'll buy right back into it. There's only a few more rounds to get through. They've probably got just enough gas in the tank to get through. Never mind. They take Miko. They want ops.
Yeah, I suppose so, right? They are, as we've said, really working off of the early round portions, and the best way to do that, and one of the most consistent ways they've had, is off the AWP. So respect it. Something a bit more patient. They realize, oh, shame. In with the collat, gets aggressive into second middle. Fabulous stuff. Shuts me right up. There's once again another fast round from Demise. You can't really be talking about the previous round because they just moved in so very quickly. Looking like a relatively quick cleanup here. Engine does catch Buster at the bottom end of Banana there on that lurk position, but he's lost all his teammates. Maybe he saves an M4 into the next round, but honestly, what's the point? You're going to have enough to buy up AK's better, and you can do some damage, and that's exactly what he's looking for. Jame is so crisp, though, man. I mean, this is what we've come to expect. The collateral's a little lucky, you have to admit, right? He's definitely not going for that, but he's just so fast. The way that he plays, you know, so fast.
That's the second time he's taking the aggressive play in towards alt mid as well. And the thing about it is he's doing it without any cover. Frequently what you'll see teams do to facilitate that is they'll have a rifle watching towards T-stairs. Not for James. James just going to go for it, and he knows he's so lightning quick that he'll be back on. And that's real confidence. Speaking of speed, holy cow, the molly doesn't go deep enough to cover it off. And so James is just already out here fragging, and he's going to push forward. Oh, I thought he was going to keep going past the broken wall. He's going to hold the half wall at the very least. Mini will punish that. That's the B site right open for the taking. Maybe a little bit too bold from James. Kickert will be able to get back into position, has the utility to delay this take, but he's still hedging his bets towards A. This is a bold choice here. The B bomb site is wide open. The welcome mat's been rolled out. There's a chance here for Demise. They just have to reach out and grab it.
I don't quite realize it yet. This is kind of troublesome. Oh, they're so nervous. They're so scared here. You see, the kind of return aggression comes in. It's busting with the double spray down, though. That makes all the difference. Engine will pick up a Dren, but he's taking too much damage. Surely not, right? They've got the bomb. They know vaguely where he's at, so they can kind of begin the containment. Man, if only Demise had committed to the B push, but they second-guessed themselves, and in theory it'll be their downfall. Buster underneath the balcony, you can't really get down without making any noise. A big 4K coming in from him, especially that double spray down right, makes all the difference when they got a little caught off guard. They were at the perfect spot for the T's to come out, in the sense that, you know, if they'd have both been looking towards second mid and not really playing their angles, and splitting their angles, I should say, it could really have gone the other way for them, but not the case. The luck works out, the timing works out, and they'll get themselves a 9th round. So still, you know, a solid lead. It's not quite as dominant, honestly, as I thought it could have been, but all the same.
This isn't terrible. They were saving for this round again. Remember, this is the intention. They didn't really expect to have much of a shout in the last one. Get this to a 9-6. Honestly, I think that's pretty good considering the fact that once the rifles got out, they seem to just kind of get bullied. They're going to group up for a B hit, but of course the adjustment is here from Avangar, always 2 steps ahead. Now they've got heavy presence in towards the B-bomb site itself. Banana not contested, which is going to prompt Demise to test this B hit. Ability through, and that's going to be the first blood drawn. Sanji has it. There's 2 players out by the oranges. Likely not going to be expected, so the first one's been dealt with. Do they check the second? They don't, not at all. There's 1. There's 2. There's 2. They're getting a lineup here, and now they've lost the site. They've got control of Church, but Buster can just chill out here, wait for his teammates to get him to rotate. Never mind, he'll just take frags anyway. Gonna leave everything to Beaz. Beaz has to do it all. A 1v3, the bomb down, no utility except a flashbang to cover this off. He tried for it. Has the first, admittedly. Flashbang timing not there. This is suddenly doable. This is viable. This is a possibility. He will collect the C4. But as he punches in the numbers, they're presumably just going to swing around. They'll take that advantage to get aggressive. And if he moves off the spot, he's a dead man. Moves into pit, though. That's the correct read. Still expecting the mid presence, and there is none coming his way. Turn around and just won't do so. The Dren cashes on blindside. It's going to be the 10th round for Avangar. It's going to be a 10-5 dominant half.
Yeah, I think he was maybe expecting at least one player. Surely at least one guy comes this way, and then I'll spin around and try and get the other one, but not the case. So yeah, I mean, still, you know, fairly strong, still fairly good on the CT half of Inferno, but like I say, I felt like some of those rounds, there was definitely a shoe-in for Demise, a couple mistakes or misreads, and they end up losing the round. It's not quite as one-sided as maybe I had expected, but we'll see. This is where, look, your T side, I mean, I would say it generally needs a bit more structure, but on a map like Inferno, you need a leading voice to make the decisions. You need decent utility. You do need some pretty good setups and kind of protocols in place. You can't just hold angles like on some maps or like Crossfires, you know, like Mirage or the Dust 2s of the world. You do need a decent amount of depth to your CT side. And we'll see. We'll see. This is where perhaps the lack of structure could actually come back to haunt them here in the second half.
The thing that I think is most not appealing, if you're looking at what happened in the first half for Demise, the most dissuasive factor about their prospects going forward, 4 of their 5 rounds came off the back of the pistol, right? As soon as the economy got healthy for Avangar, they had no answer. They got 1 round past that, and that's just tough to say. But we're going to go for it, of course. Emo is going for the dually smoke buy. An interesting one, always. Got a fair amount of utility for a CT side. Emo is just the lone B-site player. He's here to dump this smoke and get the heck out of there if they do come through, and they are indeed. There's the spot. He's hesitating a little bit. Never mind, going back to the dualies. 3 positions. One day he'll throw the smoke. There we go. Smoke now down. They don't know where he's playing from. He's trying to get aggressive. But it was actually decoys. He thought there were smokes coming through on the cross. They were decoys the whole time. Avangar has baited out the counter utility through the use of decoys. That's actually brilliant. They've saved their smokes for once these have faded. Now they'll throw their smokes. Now they've got all their utility for a site take with nothing to counter them out. That's very sneaky.
Yeah, it's almost genius in a sense, and this is kind of what I was talking about. I feel like as soon as you see one player, at the very least, rotate one across, the B-bomb site's gone. Nobody's died. The bomb site is gone. Nemo will get one through the smoke with the Julies. A fair amount of damage done onto James as well. So every cloud has a silver lining, but the bomb's gone down. And the aggression now comes in, right? Catching one player off guard, another couple round the corner. They can just play it nice and patient, but they're keeping them back. They're buying more time. Managing to find the trades. Engine on his P2K, his trusty P2K, will manage to find one. Another coming in. It's actually all onto James. 1 on 3. 50 HP. Can't find any heads at all. And Demise, the one takeaway from this game, regardless of how it goes, they pick up both the pistols. So they do have, you know, a nice little... Despite the fact that I feel the rotations are very, 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 very passive, they do have some nice pistol rounds coming in, it seems.
They definitely do. I like the ideas from both teams, right? That was a very... It seems absurd to call it cerebral, but it was an incredibly cerebral round. First of all, from Avangar to bait out the counter utility with decoys. I don't know that I've ever seen a team do that before, and that's brilliant. It's such a simple idea, such a little commitment in terms of funds. I'm actually now thinking about why I've never seen teams really do that before, because it makes so much sense. And then from Demise, the dualies were justified because he was buying them specifically so he could spam them through the smoke, and that turns into a kill and damage and leads to the round, really. So mind games within mind games here in the pistols. Now it's just a question of whether those brilliant minds can see much happen in the gun round itself. The problem is you get the bomb down as the T side, you can get a pretty ridiculous buyout. It's actually less great than we usually see because they're going to commit to utility as opposed to getting the Kriegs out, which is frequently what teams will do in current meta. But Avangar have a really good shot at taking this round, especially now that Sanjay's taken down the first blood.
Yeah, he's also forced that player that was at long halls back. So full apartments control. A weapon going to be retrieved. Another smoke, actually. Dren spots that on the floor, so, you know, he gets one out at short and has retrieved one. So baiting out some A-side utility and has still got enough with the rest of the boys. I mean, they've got plenty here to go towards the B-bomb site, which generally tends to be on rounds like this where you're focusing more on the utility, where you want to go, especially with the pistols, you know, and a lack of riflery, I suppose. But we'll see here. Return flash, no return smoke, so nothing to keep them back here. And, well, it's very quickly falling apart. There is that player at the first oranges, but he is trapped. He is mincemeat. Jane gets one on the Deeg, holding behind by the looks of things, and Beaz, the only one left, might just get cut off here by that very same player indeed. Yeah, just a great reason from Jane. And everybody eliminated. Not a single player falling for a Avangar there, and that is the difficulty, like you say, of that bomb going down on the T side. You have so much money to actually work with. And they just trust in their players. Do a bit of damage, bait some utility. They've got plenty themselves, and just burst out onto the B bomb site up against the boys who have got no smokes left. They've got like one flashbang. They've got nothing to keep them back at all. And Avangar just run away with that opportunity.
I think this is likely going to be a similar thing to what we saw in the first half. As soon as Avangar sort of cracked that first round and got their economy right, it was just a steamroll. And at this point, Demise just don't have a lot of cushion to readjust. So they're going to try in this round. Ooh, that's a heck of a way to get started. The boost up in Boiler yields fruit. That's a kill and a gun. I think that was one of the rifles as well. It's a Galil for Emor. So that's a lot to work with now. And they're going to have a ton of information because there's nobody here in alt mid. Going to be a B hit. They've just got to act off that information immediately. The rotation's a little bit quicker than we've seen them so far as they realize what's going on. With the inferior weaponry, they've got to be on site, Johnny on the spot, ready to receive this. So the take will be on. I like Mini's spot. Although flashed out, he's going to be forced back into the torches and he will die. So it's a good idea, just a little bit too early. Now sight's falling. Late flower pot boost can't connect. There we go. Quick pass him in there. But he doesn't get it. Deny the plant. Slow this down. This is so messy back and forth. But now Beaz is the lone survivor.
Their attempt at the bomb plant. In a safer spot we've seen so many players going for now that, you know, it's discovered how kind of wall bangable it is with the high caliber weapons, those coffins. They know where he is. He's got no kit. The issue is the low HPs of these two players. A mistimed peek, a slightly off angle, and he could make quick work of them, but time is winding down, and yeah, just full distraction. Don't think he knew fully where Kicker was there, and they were aware of that on the Avangar side of things, so relatively simple in the 2v1, bait and switch, you know how it goes. And Demise, I mean, it's some good damage done, but at this point in the game, when you're spending that money, you kind of have to find the rounds or maybe save some rifles, something along, you know, get a return on your investment.
Yeah.
Because ultimately they dwindle the money down, but now they're on an eco. Avangar should be able to earn back what they've just lost in that previous round.
So we're going to go for the gamble stack. Makes a lot of sense considering the circumstances, but basically at this point, Avangar, to this point in the half, have shown that they'll flex a little presence towards A, maybe work a pick there, and then hit B. And that's kind of been the nature. So I'm a little surprised that the call here is for the gamble stack out towards A, as opposed to B itself, as trends would just kind of suggest this has gone a certain way. And then they're going to realize it pretty quickly. Buster's probing forward, trying to find something here. And there is nothing. Nothing whatsoever. The apartment player, at least one of them is going to rotate back, grab the bomb, come onto a wide open B bomb site. They can wait, re-smoke that just to make absolutely sure. And this round is a cakewalk for Avangar. Presumably, Demise is going to work as a bunch and just try and death ball back on, do a little bit of damage, maybe steal away a rifle. But frankly, there is no need for Avangar to do anything but what they are doing currently. It's working out wonderful.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, right, these Demise players are so far away, they can't hear this utility on B. I feel like it's the type of stack maybe where you just have someone sat in CT, something along those lines. And then also the fact that, yeah, I kind of respect it. You don't want to give any money away, I suppose. But, like, there was also some late utility there from Avangar on the A-bomb site to just keep them thinking, actually, it could be A. You never know. But yeah, I kind of respect this. They've got the P250 there from Paz, which I suppose is a nice secondary for the AWPer. Don't think they'll have money for it, actually, but maybe just about. I'm not quite. They got the 3 loss bonus. So yeah, they just. Yeah, and he is. But I think at this point, I don't think the P250 is going to make too much of a difference for him. But ultimately, it's just kind of like a confidence thing. Keep the money away, stop them from padding the stats, feeling good about themselves. You never know as well. Someone might come hunting for you and walk into all 5 of you. You get a free rifle rather than just sort of running in one by one and getting one-tapped or easily sprayed down. Either way, early peek coming in from Emor. The flash over the top, they're too used to it by now on the Avangar side. Not going to be able to find anything early on, but at the very least, escaped with his life.
Flip side of that conversation, right, is max loss bonus or max kill bonus they get off of you is 3 times 5. They get $1,500. Take one rifle out of their hands, it's technically justified, but
yeah,
they're not going to. It'll be very timid, and already got Mini 2K out of the round, gets deleted over towards Banana. They've been having a lot of trouble with this B-bomb site, with holding it, with controlling it. They try and get a little bit aggressive as an adjustment here, but by the time Engine slips in, they're already gone, like phantoms, like ghosts. Now the one round where there's not heavy A presence is the round that they hit. Amor, though, last cannon or no, is going to strike fast, and he's giving him a chance to strike back. 2 kills to the big AWP, big green gun, flexing itself, making itself known. And now James is wary of the flank. He will catch off said flanker, and that may open the door back to the B-bomb site again. Especially as the second kill now comes through from Sanji, and it was looking so good, but it has just fallen all apart here.
Yeah, it's that kind of needless aggression on your own from Paz, and the sort of compensatory aggression coming in the apartments. That domino effect, man, it all just kind of falls apart, to be honest. We'll see. They're walking into the remaining 2 players. Imor's already looked good on the AWP. Going to miss that shot onto a Dren, and well, it's not really a face you fancy taking too much. He gets taken down by the short player. Engine spotted out by a Dren, and there you are. 14th round for Avangar. A little dicey in the beginning, but unfortunately, yeah, just Demise. Ultimately, the creators of their own demise, to be honest with you. Like, not... well, it's low-hanging fruit, isn't it? But the point kind of stands because, like, I get Paz getting aggressive, but maybe sit at the bottom of Banana, wait until your teammates say they are, you know, brackets or short, then you mount the flank, because then there's a little bit less of a risk. He may have found a frag, but he probably would have quite easily been traded, right? So it's just not really worth in any sense of the play, in any sense of the way that it goes. And then it kind of forces some more aggression on the other side of the map to kind of pick up the pieces. So questionable mid-round decisions coming in from Demise, and the round slips away.
And that seems to be the nature of the beast, right? Even when Demise has an advantage, or when they get themselves some sort of positioning advantage, the mid-rounding has been tough compared to Avangar. Avangar, always prepared, always ready for a situation. They don't flinch at all. I mean, they've got so much confidence flowing at this point, there's no reason for them to. But it's just tough scenes, and it's not going to be any better. Emor trying desperately with the P250 to click away, not going to happen. But Avangar, that's really where we've seen their quality come through, is in that mid-rounding, in that post-initial hit decision-making, anticipating the flanks, anticipating the pressure from Demise. It's really where they have outplayed them round after round after round, even in the few rounds that they lost, of which there's only one this half, the pistol round. It's just been very one-sided. So now we get one last attempt from Demise. They need to win 9 rounds in a row to bring this to overtime, and I personally don't fancy the chances, though Amor Burning will certainly not make it any easier. He's flashed, he's blinded, he's on fire. He will escape with his life, but it's not the start they were hoping for. And that's a nice underscore on exactly how bad of a start it is.
Indeed. Continues on those kind of problems, right? The two players have backed away. They kept one at the top of Banana because why not? And it doesn't really work out. This is what we're talking about. That lack of structure on the CT side can really cost you in places. Imor will catch one because he's stuck around, holds the angle. They're not expecting him after picking up 2 frags, but he's going to get smoked out. He's left on 22 HP here. What do you do? What can you do? You're going to try and get aggressive, but Buster is ready for it. Spots his legs out. Surely that has got to be all she wrote for this one, folks. Buster in with a 3K so far. Looking for his ace. It's definitely on the cards. Paz and Beaz, though, what can they get done? The rhyming duo have got to find something here. Anything to keep their team in it. Doesn't matter if it's one of them with a 1v4 insane clutch. Anything at this point. No kits available. 1 flash, 1 dream. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. The ace is denied. Sanji is dealt with. But it's a 1v3. They know exactly where he's at. He peeks out. And James time, baby, of course. He gets the final frag. And a fairly dominant second half. You know, you mentioned it at the turn of the half as well. It was actually, the scoreline is deceiving. You know, 10-5. You've got to be careful because rifle rounds just not going well for them. And some of those issues that we predicted really shining through in that second half.
Yeah, it was just an absolute smack. The pressure wasn't read correctly by Demise most of the time. They weren't on site. When they needed to be, the rotations, as you were pointing out, were just far too timid. And the mid-rounding was a real struggle for them. So Avangar really outplayed them at many of the facets of the game. Demise, there's bits of the individual skill that are promising there, but really need to work on the whole system. And so they're going to continue their respective trends. 6-1 in the league now for Avangar. That's a really strong start. And meanwhile, 1-6, which is pretty much already guaranteeing that you're not going to make playoffs. And now you're just fighting to keep yourself out of relegation, which would be a really disappointing result for this Turkish side. We are going to head into our next match, though. We've got a double header from Illuminar coming up. Their first opponent going to be Illuminar against Nemiga. And that is going to be next on Mirage. So we are going to catch that in just a moment. Stick around, folks. You are watching the ESEA Mountain Dew League, and we'll be right back.